In Massachusetts, electrical permit requirements vary depending on the type of work being performed. For a service call to replace a dimmer switch, a permit is not required. Similarly, for a service call to replace a light fixture, a permit is not required. However, for a service call to reconnect a new dishwasher, a permit is required. This is also the case for a service call to reconnect an electric hot water heater, where a permit is required as well. Conversely, a service call to replace 12 hardwired smoke detectors does not necessitate a permit. The determining factor often lies in whether the work involves new wiring or alterations to existing circuits, especially for appliances drawing significant power or involving water connections. Always consult local electrical codes and inspectors to confirm permit requirements for specific projects. Chapter 143.3L of the Massachusetts General Law states that no person shall install for hire any electrical wiring or fixtures subject to this section without first or within 5 days after commencing the work giving notice to the inspector of wires appointed. This refers to new electrical installation for hire. Now let's delve deeper into understanding the nuances of electrical permit requirements in Massachusetts, particularly focusing on common scenarios encountered during residential and commercial electrical work. When dealing with minor repairs and replacements, the general rule of thumb is that if the work involves simply replacing an existing component with a similar one, without altering the existing wiring or electrical system, a permit is usually not required. For example, swapping out a faulty dimmer switch with a new one of the same type and rating typically falls under this category. The same applies to replacing a standard light fixture with a comparable fixture, as long as the wiring remains unchanged. However, when the work involves installing new circuits, modifying existing wiring, or connecting appliances that draw significant power, a permit is generally required. This is to ensure that the work is performed safely and in compliance with the Massachusetts Electrical Code, which is based on the National Electrical Code. The reconnection of a new dishwasher invariably necessitates a permit because it involves connecting to both the electrical and plumbing systems, requiring adherence to specific safety standards. Similarly, the reconnection of an electric hot water heater demands a permit due to its high power consumption and direct connection to the electrical system. These appliances pose potential hazards if not installed correctly, making permit requirements essential for safety. The replacement of hardwired smoke detectors provides a unique case. While smoke detectors are critical safety devices, replacing them with similar models in the same locations usually does not require a permit. This is because the wiring is already in place, and the replacement process generally does not involve altering the existing electrical system. However, if the installation involves adding new smoke detectors and locations without existing wiring, a permit might be necessary, as it would entail running new circuits. It's essential to understand that electrical permit requirements can vary depending on the specific circumstances and the interpretation of local electrical inspectors. Some municipalities may have stricter rules than others, so it's always best to err on the side of caution and consult with a local electrical inspector before commencing any electrical work. In addition to the type of work being performed, the scope and complexity of the project can also influence permit requirements. For instance, a small repair in a residential setting may not require a permit, while a similar repair in a commercial building might necessitate one due to the potential impact on a larger electrical system. To ensure compliance with Massachusetts electrical regulations, it's crucial to be familiar with the Massachusetts Electrical Code, which is based on the National Electrical Code. This code provides detailed guidelines for electrical installations, covering everything from wiring methods to grounding and bonding requirements. Understanding the code can help you determine whether a permit is required for a specific project and ensure that the work is performed safely and correctly. Moreover, it's important to maintain accurate records of all electrical work performed, including permits obtained and inspections conducted. This documentation can be valuable for future reference and can help demonstrate compliance with electrical regulations in case of an audit or inspection. When in doubt about permit requirements, it's always best to contact the local electrical inspector. Electrical inspectors are responsible for enforcing the Massachusetts Electrical code and can provide guidance on permit requirements and inspection procedures. They can also answer any questions you may have about electrical safety and compliance. In summary, determining whether a permit is required for small repairs or appliance reconnections in Massachusetts depends on several factors, including the type of work being performed, the scope of the project, and local regulations. While minor repairs and replacements may not require a permit, any work involving new wiring, modifications to existing circuits, or the connection of high-power appliances generally does. Consulting with the local electrical inspector and familiarizing yourself with the Massachusetts Electrical Code are essential steps in ensuring compliance and safety. This ensures adherence to safety protocols and code compliance. Let's examine some specific aspects of electrical work that often necessitate permits in Massachusetts. First, any alteration or modification to the service entrance of a building invariably requires a permit. The service entrance is the point where electrical power enters the building from the utility grid. Altering or upgrading the service entrance can involve changing the size of the service conductors, replacing the service panel, or modifying the grounding system. These changes can have significant implications for the safety and reliability of the electrical system, making permit requirements essential. Second, any installation of new circuits or extensions to existing circuits typically requires a permit. This includes running new wiring for additional outlets, lights, or appliances. The permit ensures that the new circuits are properly sized, protected, and grounded, minimizing the risk of electrical hazards. Third, the installation of any electrical equipment that requires a dedicated circuit usually necessitates a permit. This includes appliances such as electric ranges, dryers, air conditioners, and electric vehicle chargers. These appliances draw significant power and must be connected to dedicated circuits to prevent overloading and overheating. Fourth, any work involving the electrical system in a hazardous location, such as a garage or a commercial kitchen, typically requires a permit. Hazardous locations pose unique challenges due to the presence of flammable materials or corrosive substances. Special wiring methods and equipment are required to minimize the risk of fire or explosion. Fifth, any work involving the electrical system in a healthcare facility or a place of public assembly generally requires a permit. Healthcare facilities and places of public assembly have stringent electrical requirements to ensure the safety of patients, employees, and visitors. The permit ensures that the electrical system is designed and installed to meet these requirements. When obtaining an electrical permit in Massachusetts, you will typically need to provide detailed information about the proposed work, including the scope of the project, the materials to be used, and the qualifications of the electrician performing the work. The permit application may also require you to submit drawings or diagrams showing the layout of the electrical system. Once the permit is approved, you will need to schedule an inspection with the local electrical inspector. The inspector will examine the work to ensure that it complies with the Massachusetts Electrical Code and the approved permit. If any deficiencies are found, you will need to correct them before the inspector will sign off on the permit. Failure to obtain the necessary electrical permits can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. In addition, it can void your insurance coverage and create potential safety hazards. Therefore, it's always best to err on the side of caution and consult with the local electrical inspector before commencing any electrical work. To stay informed about changes to electrical permit requirements in Massachusetts, you can subscribe to updates from the Massachusetts Board of State Examiners of Electricians. This board is responsible for licensing electricians and enforcing the Massachusetts Electrical Code. They periodically issue updates and advisories on electrical safety and permit requirements. Furthermore, you can attend continuing education courses on electrical safety and code compliance. These courses can provide you with the latest information on electrical regulations and best practices. They can also help you maintain your electrical license and stay up to date on industry trends. In conclusion, navigating an electrical permit requirements in Massachusetts requires a thorough understanding of the Massachusetts Electrical Code, local regulations, and the specific circumstances of the project. By consulting with the local electrical inspector, staying informed about changes to electrical regulations, and obtaining the necessary permits, you can ensure that your electrical work is performed safely and in compliance with the law. This ensures safety and adherence to regulations. Let's explore additional factors that influence electrical permit requirements in Massachusetts, offering further clarity on compliance and safety. Consider the scenario where you are upgrading an existing electrical panel. While a simple replacement of a like-for-like panel might seem straightforward, any increase in amperage or change in voltage necessitates a permit. This is due to the potential impact on the entire electrical system and the need to ensure adequate capacity and protection. For instance, upgrading from a 100 amp panel to a 200 amp panel requires a permit to verify that the service entrance conductors and grounding system are appropriately sized. Another area to consider is the installation of low-voltage systems such as security systems, home automation systems, and landscape lighting. While these systems operate at low voltages, they still require permits in many cases, especially if they involve running wiring through walls or ceilings, or if they are connected to the main electrical panel. The permit ensures that the low-voltage wiring is properly separated from high-voltage wiring and that the system is installed in accordance with safety standards. Furthermore, any electrical work performed in or near swimming pools, spas, or hot tubs requires a permit due to the increased risk of electric shock. These areas have specific requirements for bonding, grounding, and GFCI protection to minimize the risk of electrical hazards. The permit ensures that these requirements are met and that the installation is safe for users. When dealing with older homes, electrical systems may not be up to current code standards. If you are planning any renovations or additions to an older home, it is essential to have the electrical system inspected and upgraded to meet current code requirements. This may involve replacing outdated wiring, adding GFCI protection, and installing new circuits to accommodate modern appliances. The permit ensures that the electrical system is brought up to code and that the home is safe from electrical hazards. It's also important to be aware of any local ordinances or regulations that may supplement the Massachusetts Electrical Code. Some municipalities may have stricter requirements for certain types of electrical work, such as solar panel installations or wind turbine projects. These local regulations are designed to address specific concerns or conditions in the community. When hiring an electrician to perform electrical work in Massachusetts, it is essential to ensure that they are properly licensed and insured. Licensed electricians have demonstrated their knowledge and skills by passing an examination and meeting certain experience requirements. They are also required to carry insurance to protect themselves and their customers from liability. Before hiring an electrician, ask to see their license and insurance certificate. You can also verify their license status online through the Massachusetts Board of State Examiners of Electricians website. In addition to being licensed and insured, it is important to choose an electrician who is experienced and knowledgeable in the type of work you need performed. Ask for references, then check online reviews to get a sense of their reputation and quality of work. A qualified electrician will be able to assess your electrical needs, provide you with a detailed estimate, and perform the work safely and in compliance with code requirements. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to leave it to the professionals. Attempting to perform electrical work yourself without the proper knowledge and training can result in serious injury or even death. By hiring a licensed and insured electrician, you can ensure that the work is done safely and correctly, protecting yourself and your property from electrical hazards. In conclusion, electrical permit requirements in Massachusetts are designed to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. By understanding the requirements, consulting with the local electrical inspector, and hiring a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your electrical work is performed safely and in compliance with the law. This ensures safe and compliant electrical work. Let's examine specific scenarios and electrical components that often trigger permit requirements in Massachusetts. Consider the installation of a new subpanel in a garage or basement. A subpanel provides additional circuit capacity and allows for the separation of circuits for specific areas or loads. The installation of a subpanel always requires a permit because it involves extending the electrical system and adding new circuits. The permit ensures that the subpanel is properly sized, wired, and protected, and that it meets all applicable code requirements. Another common scenario is the replacement of an existing fuse box with a circuit breaker panel. While this upgrade improves safety and convenience, it also requires a permit. The permit ensures that the circuit breaker panel is properly sized and installed, and that the wiring is compatible with the new panel. The inspector will also verify that the grounding system is adequate and that all circuits are properly labeled. Furthermore, any work involving the installation or modification of a fire alarm system requires a permit. Fire alarm systems are critical for life safety, and their installation must be performed by qualified professionals in accordance with strict code requirements. The permit ensures that the fire alarm system is properly designed, installed, and tested, and that it is connected to the local fire department. Consider the installation of electric heating systems such as baseboard heaters, radiant floor heating, or heat pumps. These systems require dedicated circuits and often involve running new wiring, making a permit necessary. The permit ensures that the heating system is properly sized, wired, and protected, and that it meets all applicable energy efficiency standards. In commercial buildings, any electrical work involving the installation or modification of emergency lighting systems requires a permit. Emergency lighting systems are designed to provide illumination during power outages, ensuring the safe evacuation of occupants. The permit ensures that the emergency lighting system is properly designed, installed, and tested, and that it meets all applicable code requirements. It's also important to be aware of the requirements for electrical inspections. In Massachusetts, electrical work must be inspected by a qualified electrical inspector to ensure compliance with the Massachusetts Electrical Code. The inspector will review the permit, examine the work, and verify that it meets all applicable requirements. If any deficiencies are found, the inspector will issue a notice of violation, and the contractor will be required to correct the deficiencies before the work can be approved. The electrical inspection process is an essential part of ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. It helps to identify and correct potential hazards before they can cause problems. When scheduling an electrical inspection, be sure to provide the inspector with all necessary documentation, including the permit, the electrical drawings, and the product specifications. This will help the inspector to conduct a thorough and efficient inspection. In addition to the scenarios mentioned above, there are many other types of electrical work that may require a permit in Massachusetts. These include the installation of generators, solar panels, wind turbines, and other alternative energy systems. The best way to determine whether a permit is required for a specific project is to consult with the local electrical inspector. The inspector can provide you with guidance on the permit requirements and the inspection process. They can also answer any questions you may have about electrical safety and code compliance. In summary, electrical permit requirements in Massachusetts are comprehensive and designed to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. By understanding the requirements, consulting with the local electrical inspector, and hiring a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your electrical work is performed safely and in compliance with the law. This ensures electrical safety and legal compliance.